Yes, we're live. I thought I'd have a quick check-in with everyone because I was doing the videos for Valentine's Day and that just didn't come about due to scheduling and other dynamics going on with family, and it was a nightmare. And I wanted to do a check-in with everyone for Valentine's Day and for the energy at the moment. So I'll wait for a few people to connect. And I'm hoping this doesn't get too bright. The phone's cut out twice today because we've got the shadow period of Mercury. I wanted to have a quick chat before I go to bed and recoup. Everyone's energy is super tired at the moment, so you're going to have to try and maintain your frequency. Hi, Adrian. How are you? How is everyone? Okay, I wanted to have a brief talk to everyone about some of the energies at the moment. I'll try and make sure my head's there so you're not kind of shining over by the light. Now, a lot of the energies at the moment coming through is family related. So we've got a lot of family related dynamics going on. We've got a lot of balance that we're trying to have on. We're also looking at the aspects, thanks Star, we're also looking at the aspects of, our finances and where things can balance there. And I'm noticing a lot of people at the moment, especially clients, the reason that we're so frustrated is A, we're fatigued from 2018. B, we're hoping that 2009, almost like the fatigue and the frustration is, how would I put it? Instant gratification. It's because we have done so much work. We're coming to a frustrating place. So we're almost coming to that place where we're saying, why can't we have this? We've done so much work. What you've got to understand is a lot of people get quite triggered when they look at readings, and especially if you're a twin flame and you do look at the 3D nature of readings, we can get quite triggered when we hear a new person's coming in and we're going, oh my God, okay, this person or that person is going to get another person. You've got to remember that in a twin flame journey, the new person can be you evolving or the twin evolving. And that's even with a non-twin flame connection. When you're hearing, hi Libra, when you're hearing in a reading and you're going, oh God, another person's entering the equation, don't outrule the fact that that person can be a person you're still inquiring about, but that they've evolved. Also, most of us need to understand that with the total eclipse, you will get the remaining of cycles ending out up to 8 weeks. So more energy, more information will be coming through after that fact. There can be frustrations with this, and a lot of you are going to be experiencing, hi Stefan, dynamics where you're not wanting to go back over old ground, or you're noticing how you potentially used to be, but you have in fact changed, but you're taming it. You're taming the aspect of the ego. The frustrating point is that with all the work that everyone's done, you're sort of hoping that it's going to be tomorrow. Now, it's not going to be the same as 2018, but the one thing I can tell you is there is a process with the eclipse. It's going to be a 6-month transition. Now, we do have eclipses mid-year, and we do have one at the end of the year. We also have retrogrades during that time. Again, it's nothing for those of you that have done the work will not be used to, but because you're fatigued, you're going to have to gauge in with your frequency. A lot of you may be actually noticing fatigue, and again, generally when you come to that, it's because you're having a spiritual upgrade and it's because something's changing. But keep up to date with your health. If you feel you've got to go get a checkup, go get a checkup. If you feel fatigued, listen to your body. Because you're going to need the energy this year to keep everything going, moving smoothly. Anything that you have in front of you that you need to directly deal with, take it in 5-minute tasks that you actually complete those tasks. Some of you also are looking at factors where you're noticing what is working and what isn't working. And it does feel to a degree similar to Saturn retrograde. So it can be you're looking at it, you're going, this just isn't working. I need to change this up. And it was funny, I had a download last year, and I think it was around December. And it was not necessarily is a new way, a better way. Sometimes the simplest is looking at what did work and fine-tuning that factor, not doing a whole 360 and changing everything. So a lot of us are trying to find a healthy balance in life, and that can be with where we place our energies, with how we work, with how we operate, and how we communicate. So that's really getting down to the fine art at the moment, where we're meditating upon those things and we're saying, okay, what is deserving of my energy? Now we're needing to expand energetically and especially spiritually, but there's also this need for balance. Now, with the placements of the planets this year, they're going to be very energetic. So you may have more to do. You may have things coming at left field. So it's crucial that you have a baseline of a routine to keep you grounded during that process. So you'll find, yes, there might not be as many planets retrograde, but there's far more going on that will overwhelm you, like the whole planets are going retrograde. So you're going to really have to check in with yourself and to try and maintain that energy. That can also be checking your diet and making sure you're having the adequate fuel, adequate fluids, enough sleep, to maintain that frequency to get as much done. Sometimes, even if you leave a day, you're actually going to have more energy to complete 20 tasks over one task that you felt you wouldn't complete. You're also having to be more honest towards yourselves about what you can and can't do, and what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And that can be quite problematic at the moment, where people are looking at that saying, I'm not willing to do that. This or that is not worth my energy. I'm trying to maintain balance at the moment. With the nodes, however, you will find it's quite a dominant energy, and that's going to be all the way through March, and we're going to have Mercury retrograde. So the communication factor is going to be off. The trigger points is going to be up. Your technology is going to start playing up. You can have issues and dynamics with, really networking and, getting your name out. It's really not the best time. And again, I'm not an advisor legally, but from a planetary aspect of things, Mercury retrograde can be problematic with documents and signing contracts. So really make sure you follow up on your emails. Really make sure that you read the fine print before you enter into a contract. Any questions? How have people we accepting of the frequency is just merely a day, which is probably the healthiest way to be, because expectations, can cause trigger points. Happy Valentine's Day, Libra. Triple Libra, let them sort it out. 50-50. That's good. Things, you never really break up. Yeah, how do I put it? Any trigger points that are coming up is because of the frustration. A lot of the energies with the masculines at the moment. I have tried to explain this to a few feminines. You've got to look at it from this point of view. If your twin suddenly is single, or the conflict that you thought they had is cleared up, it's the residue energy after an eclipse, which is quite ironic, because it's like tying up the karmic cycles. Now, they don't happen overnight. They take some time. There's a process, and that's really what I'm saying at the moment, is that the frustration can be you automatically feel that if that person comes in, everything's going to be peachy. But there's a process to it to create the balance, and, you really have to be quite strong energetically to have the compassion, the understanding, and the patience during the eye of a storm in another person's energy. Yes, you're dual in a sense that you merge, but in the balance factor can actually cause problems and dynamics in the journey, and it can delay it if it's not in alignment. And it's not the person comes back and automatically they're perfect, and that's not for you either. It's more the reality based of the 3D nature of things, and with astrology, can cause conflict within the dynamic. So you're really going to have to practice patience and tolerance. I mean, that's towards yourself as well. And really, any trigger points that come up, looking at them is really key in the journey. So if you can look at them and say, okay, how am I looking at this situation? What are the trigger points coming up? What can I actually do to heal myself or to keep myself grounded so this doesn't affect my vibration? And I can continue moving forward. So I can remain balanced, so to speak. You've always got to check in with yourself. Usually, if you have an energy of another person around, it blocks the twin flame journey. And that's because, it's one path or the other. That's one thing I've learned in my life. And it's not about any one road is correct or wrong. It's just, in your own energy, being in your own personal alignment, choosing a one path, and that can be your own path, for instance. And that's really what mine was. It wasn't really about anybody. It was more about what I needed at that point in time. And when I did that, things moved into alignment. If that makes sense. Yeah, just let it pace. Don't get too triggered by it, Elizabeth. It does take some time. At the moment, like I said, the nodes being in Cancer and Capricorn is about our foundation. It's about our, how do I put it? Our finances, how we interact with family, dealing with co-parenting and things to that degree, especially with the second waivers. There is a lot of that energy, and people ask, what is the mission? Anything in a threatening nature that's coming towards you will end up being, especially the lessons you learn and how people move towards you, it will become your mission. Things you synchronistically do, the vibrations and the people around you that you affect. Second wave is in their own frequency directly trigger and change people. And you can look at that from the point of view of in your childhood, feeling like the black sheep of the family. You trigger your family, but you tend to think you're the black sheep, but they really felt like the black sheep dealing with you. So it's the trigger dynamic and how you evolve, and then it directly impacts others, positive and negative, whatever that be. It's an aspect of the journey, and they directly change as well because they grow and see through you. Very difficult during Mercury retrograde, DS. Potentially, yes, which is ironic. How do I put it? It's harder and it can be delayed during Mercury retrograde. Now we're in the shadow aspect of it, or moving towards the shadow aspect, but I'm still seeing synchronicities to do with Mercury retrograde. It's not that it won't happen. We're in the year of the pig. It does depend on your horoscope. Financially speaking, it is supposed to bode best. The most difficult times can be mid-year because we are going retrograde. However, April bodes quite well for finances, and there are pockets through the whole year that is good. It's just about getting that, believing in that, networking. But Mercury retrograde will become problematic for that. So you've really got to hold your temper. You've got to have a lot of patience with documentation, etc., and that should move it forward. But it does move forward. It's just more problematic during a Mercury retrograde. Let them deal with it, Heidi. Let them believe what they believe and step back and just live in your truth. It's a vibration that they will release. Thanks, DS. No, not at all. Everyone's going through it at the moment, love. Everyone financially around the world is going through the same frequency because we're detaching from the way in which we're doing things. There is financial crisis through the air at the moment, so things have slowed. I mean, even in the trade industry over here, it's very much slowed. It's because you outgrew it, so it wasn't a correct frequency for you to be there anymore. Universe will always protect you while you're going through a spiritual transformation, and when it's needed and you believe that you're worthy of those things come towards you. It's a process, Stefan. You know, believing it's a normal connection is part of a process that you need to purge. You know, because we tend to think, oh, it's all going to be better roses now. Or, oh, I wouldn't say that. That's not true. Um, we we tend to think if we do everything, it's going to be perfect, but it takes two. So it's not that there was ever anything wrong with you, Stefan. It's being in alignment, being in the location actually enhances and helps. The coming to the end, we're moving into the age of Aquarius. So regardless of the twin flame journey, this frequency would be her regardless. So it's the frustration of that transition, but ultimately it's not to do with the twin flame journey. It's because people are going through mass awakenings. Do whatever you feel is correct.